So, hey there, my name is Akshay and welcome back to GeeksforGeeks and welcome back to the MySQL course. And in today's video, we are going to learn about any and all operators. And then the next topic will be the insert into select statement. And the last topic will be the case statement. Okay, so these are the three topics that I'm going to cover in today's video. Now, let us start with what we learned previously. Okay, so we have learned about multiple things in SQL, like how do we create a database and how do we create tables inside that database and how do we manipulate data inside those tables, right? So we have used multiple things for that matter, and I am sure that you are enjoying this course. And if you are enjoying this course, do subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon so that you may receive all the notifications. And do also like the videos if you're watching them. Okay. So first, let me open the MySQL command line so that we may be able to run the commands. Okay. This is the MySQL command line, and we have created the database GFG, right? So this is our databases, and inside this database, we have created multiple tables. So I'm going to show all the tables. So these are all the tables that we previously created, right? So in the previous video, we have worked upon multiple tables like the customer ones and supplier ones, right? You do remember, right? If you have not watched those videos, you can watch them by going to the channel. Okay. Now let us start today's topic. So what is today's topic? Today's topic is MySQL, uh, any and all operators. Okay. So what are any and all operators? So the any and all operators allows you to perform a comparison between a single column value and a range of other values. And the so let us start with the any operator. So the first topic is the any operator, and any operator returns a boolean value as a result. And this boolean value, it returns true if any of the subquery values meet the condition. So any operator is used to return a boolean value, and it returns true only if any of the subqueries meet the condition. Now let us learn it with a following example. So for that, I'll use previously created tables, and I've also created one more table whose name was order details. So it was quite hectic to create those tables inside our videos, right? So that's why I pre-created that table, and I'll show you the description of this table so that you may be able to create that table. Okay. And I'll also show you the number of rows inside that table so that you may be able to insert those rows inside your table. So any means that the condition will be true if the operation is true for any of the values in the range. Like the name suggests, the any operator, right? So if any of the values inside that range is true, then it's going to return those values. Okay. So first, let me show you what are the tables that I'm going to use. And before that, first let me show you the syntax of any operator. Okay. So the syntax of any operator is select column name from table name. Then after that, you have to give where column name, and then you have to use the any operator, and then you can select column name from table name, and where you can give the condition. Okay. So this is our query, right? And let me first tell you what does this statement mean. Okay. So we are using a select statement, and we are selecting a column from this table name. Okay. Then inside this, we have given a condition where the column name, like this column name or any other column name from this table, is corresponding to the equal values of this select statements output. Okay. So what will be the output of this statement, like select column name from table name where condition. So this is a simple select statement, and it is gonna show uh, values like 1, 2, 3, and for those values which follow this condition, right? So all those values which will be outputted from this query will be used if any of those values are equal to the column name, equal to the value of this column name. Okay. So that is the basic concept behind this any operator. Okay. Now we are going to try to use it inside our tables. Okay. So there are two tables that you're going to need to create to run any and all of them. So, okay. So the first table name is the products table. So first let me show you the description of products. We have created this table in the previous videos, right? So this was our table products, and let me show you all the rows inside this products table. And this is the description of this table, and these are the values inside this table. Okay. So these values I manually inserted, and in the previous videos I have only inserted 5 or 4 values, and I have later inserted multiple values so that you may be able to understand it better, and we may be able to get a better result overall. Okay, so that's why I inserted more values inside this. And another table that you're gonna need is the uh, order details. Okay, so this table I created. So this is the order details table. And as you can see, there are 4 columns: order detail ID, order ID, product ID, and quantity. So these are the 4 columns inside this order details table. And let me show you the content of this table. So this is the content of this table. And as you can see, there are 10 rows inside this table. And these are quantities given over here. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to select some rows from this table which specify a certain condition like whose quantity is greater than 10, and then we are going to check if there is product ID corresponding to that quantity, and then we are going to output the name from this table, the products table, whose product IDs and those product IDs whose quantity was greater than 10. Okay. So for that, I'll use that simple query. Okay. Uh, yeah. What was the query? Just a minute. Yeah. So for the query, let me start with select uh, product name from products where. Wait, let me write it down in steps so that it may be better for you to understand. From product where product ID is equal to any, and then you can use the select statement to get the output from the other table, that is order details, right? Product ID from or details, and where t is greater than 10. Okay, so this is just sample condition that I'm providing over here, and I'll just print this statement, use the any condition or the any statement over here, any operator over here. Okay, wait, I accidentally pressed the upper key to that, so that's why it disappeared. I'm going to write that query again with is greater than 10. So this is our query, and let me try to run it. So it returns ASDS QWER uh, and ERYE, then GBGF. So okay, these are the 4 rows that it is returning right now, and they are from this table, that is products, and the output is given by the quantity who's greater than 10, right? So quantity was greater than 10 for the product ID 1, and then there was product ID 3, then there was product ID 1, and then there was product ID 8, and at the end it was product ID 9, right? So product ID 1, 3, 8, and 9 were the four names that are present inside the output, right? So yeah, you can check that from this table for the products table, right? So yeah, that is our output, and that is how we use the any operators. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is the all operators, right? So for the all operators, let me start with the definition. The all operator returns a Boolean value as a result, and it returns true if all of the subquery values meet the condition. And it is used with select, where, and having statements. Like you can use it with select command, that is our basic query to get the data from the table, and you can use it with where clause, and you can also use with having clause. Okay. Then all means that the condition will be true only if the operation is true for all the values inside the range. And the basic syntax of all is with the select command is select all column name from table name where and this is the basic syntax with the select command that you can use to get the data from the table using the all operators. And then the next thing we are gonna do is the next syntax is the syntax with the where clause are having one, right? So for that, the basic syntax is select column name from table name where column name, then operator, then all, then you have to put the brackets and then put the select comments, then from table name, and then you have to get the where condition, right? This is our basic select command, and we are using it with the all operator to get a certain amount of data from the other table that we have created earlier. Now, what does this operator mean? I have written operator over here. So, what does that mean? So, this operator are basically the operators that are used in SQL, right? So, those operators are equals to, greater than or equals to, not equals to. Wait, let me put a comma between the values. So, they're greater than, or then you can less than, then greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to, then there is not equals to, and yeah. So these are all the operators that are present inside SQL, and you can use all these operators with the all operators, right? So that's how we use the all operators, and I'm gonna show it to you, like implementing it to both of these tables, and I'll use these operators to get a certain value from the table, right? And one more thing, that even if I don't use all of these operators inside my query, there's a homework for you, and you can use it. Use all of these operators and put that query inside the comment section below, so that I may be able to know that you guys are understanding the command. Okay. So let us try to implement it, and for that I'll use the same table that we created earlier, right? So first we'll use the select all product name from products where true. Okay. So this is our usage of all operators with the select query, and it is pretty basic. It is showing all the values where the condition is true. So see, the basic thing that you want to learn from the all operators is that it only returns the value if all the values are true. Okay. And any operator returns the value if any of the values are true. So that is the basic difference between any and all operators. And if you use any over here, then it's going to return only certain values, which specifies the condition. And if you are using the all operators, it's not going to return the values if all the conditions are not true. Okay. And you will see that in this query. So I'll show you the implementation using the web. So select product name from products and where product ID is equal to all and select product ID. Then after that, you have to give from order details and where the quantity is, let's say greater than 1000, or you can say it is less than 1000. Okay. So see, it shows us an empty set because all the conditions are not met and all the values are not less than 1000. But if we use greater than 1000 over here, that is the condition is true, then it's gonna show the out because all the conditions are met, right? So if I set greater than 1000 over here, and as you can see, it shows us all the product names because the conditions were met, right? So this was the basic usage of any and all operators in MySQL. Then let us move on to the next topic, that is the insert into select statement. Now, what does the statement mean? So the insert into select statement copies data from one table and inserts it into the another table. And the insert into select statement requires that data types in source and target tables matches. Like if you are trying to insert the data from one table to the other table, the data types of both of those tables and the number of columns and the of source in the target tables should match. Like we have created two tables of let me just show you. So we have previously created two tables, customers and suppliers over there, and we have pushed similar columns over there. So what we can do is we can copy the data from one table and we can insert it inside the other table without writing any of the insert query. So yeah, this is very useful if you are trying to create databases from one databases, right? So let me just show you the basic syntax of this command. Insert into table 2. Then after that, you have to give the select asterisk one, or you can give a selected number of columns. I'm just gonna write asterisks over there because we are selecting all the columns from table 1, and then you can give the condition. Like if you want only certain rows to be inserted, then you can provide that condition over here, and only certain rows will be inserted. And this is the basic syntax. Okay, then let me brief it a little bit more, and we can also provide column names over here. Select into table 2, and we can provide column 1, column 2 over here. And in the similar way, you can provide any number of columns if you want. And then in the select query, you can give in the place of asterisks, you can give column 1, column 2, and so on. So you can provide any number of columns over here, and you can get the data from another table and insert it inside this table, right? So then you can provide the condition in the methods, and this is the basic syntax of inserting certain amount of data from certain columns inside this other table, right? So let us try to implement it using our two tables that we previously created. So first, let me show you those tables. We have one from customers, and this is our first table that we created. The other table was suppliers, right? So select stick one suppliers, right? So this is the other table that we created, and as you can see, most of the columns are pretty same. Like the customer ID and customer name is different, and rest of the details like the contact name, address, city, postal code, and the country are pretty same in both of these tables, right? So we can implement our insert into select using these two tables. So let us start it by copying the data from the supplier table and inserted it into the customers table. So insert into customers, and for the columns I'll write customer name and city and country. Then select supplier name, city, country from supplier. Yeah, this is our query, and see, three records are inserted because there were three records inside the suppliers table, and we have inserted these records inside the customers table. So let me show you the output of the customers table. So yeah, this is our customers table, and as you can see, there is null, null, null written over here because those values weren't provided from the other table, and yeah, that's how we use the select insert into select command. Okay, now let me try to use the asterisk one. For that, insert into customers. What was the basic query for that? So insert into table name. So insert into customers. Let's say the suppliers. I'm going to insert the data from the customers to the suppliers. Insert into suppliers. Then after that, we have to use select asterisk from table one. So select asterisk from table. So what is the table one over here? That is customers, right? And yeah, so we are inserting all the data from customers table to the suppliers table. Now let me try to run this query, and as you can see, six rows are now inserted inside this table. Now let me show you the output of the supplier table. So select asterisk from suppliers. As you can see, there are nine rows available inside this table, and we have inserted these six rows from the other table whose name was customers, right? So that is the implementation, and you can use condition over here after providing the select asterisk from customers. You can provide a condition at the end of the statement, and if that condition is true, that row will be inserted inside the other table. And that is pretty simple because we are just adding one more query inside the select statement, right? So I think that was it for this topic, guys. And let us move on to the next topic, that is the MySQL case statement. So the case statement goes through conditions and returns a value when the first condition is met. Like if then else statement. Like if you have learned about if else statement from like other programming languages, like in C++. So if one of the condition is true, then it's gonna execute a certain amount of statements, and if it's not true, then it's gonna return something else. Okay, so that is the basic usage of if. You can say the case statements in MySQL. And so once condition is true, it will stop reading and return the result. If no conditions are true, then it returns the value of the else clause. And if there is no else part, no conditions are true, then it returns null. So yeah, that is the case statement in MySQL. Case statements in MySQL. So the basic syntax of case statement is first you have to write down case over here. Then when condition one, then insert one. When condition two, then at end we have to give result two. And in the similar manner, you can do the third condition as well. So condition three and result three. Then you can also provide else over here, and inside the else you can just put the result over. Uh, then at the end you have to write end over there and put a semicolon. This is the basic syntax of case statements in MySQL, and we will implement it using our order details table. And I've already explained you, I've already shown you the description of this table. Let me show it to you again so that you will be able to remember. So, this was our table. This is the basic description of this table. And let me show you the content of this table. So, this is the content of this table, and we will try to change the data inside this table. Uh, we will provide certain amount of queries inside this table. Okay, using the case statement. So for that, I'll just write down query and explain it later. So order ID, quantity. We are using these two columns from this table, and we are providing case over here, case, then when quantity is greater than 30, then um, the quantity is greater than 30. We are gonna write it down like this. Okay. And then when the quantity is equal to 30, that condition we are gonna print uh, as 30. And yeah, and inside the else you have to give a certain condition, right? So the quantity is under 30. Yeah. So these are the conditions that we provided over here. And after that, you have to write down end as quantity text from order is. So this is our query, and let us try to run. Yes. So this is the output for our query of case statements, and as you can see in the output, there is quantity text given over here that we have provided over here as the alias, right? So end as quantity text means that it's gonna name the result of this case statement, this particular text that we provided over here, that is the quantity text, and when the quantity is greater than 30, so it is printing greater than 30, right? And if the quantity is equal to 30, then it is providing the equal to 30, but there is no condition inside this these values, like the quantity is 30, where the quantity is 30. So it's not showing quantity is 30 over there. And I have made a mistake over here that the quantity is 20 I have written over there. But since none of the conditions were true, that's why it's not showing that in our table output. And inside the else, you provided that the quantity is greater than less than 30, and it is visible in most of the queries or the output over there, because most of the quantities are already less than 30, and that's how we use the case stick. Uh, then let me show you one more thing. Select one name, city, and the country from customers order by, and inside the order by you can provide the case statement over. So case when city is null, then country, and inside the else you can write down city over there, and end at the end I'll put a semicolon over there, and check. This was our customer's table, and if the city is null, then the country, or we have to provide city over, right? So if the city is null, then you can give the output of the country, and if the city is not null, then you have to print the output as city. And yeah, that is our basic case statement in this customer's table, and we have to print the customer name, city, and country from these tables. But due to some reason, this command is not running, and it shows the error at line 4. Let me try it again. I it's provided in sensitivity, then city. It is still showing an error, but this query should work, and it may be due to my older skill command line client. And if you run it on other, uh, what you can say, the compilers, then it's gonna show you the output that if the city is null, then it's gonna output the country, and else it will return the city. So yeah, this is the basic usage of the case statements in MySQL. Okay, so that is all for this video, and that are all the topics that I covered in this video. Okay, and let me show you another thing. You can go to practice.geeksforgeeks.org, and you can access this site from the description in this video. And you can go over here and search for any course that you want, and you can purchase those courses. And you can also use the coupon code Codas Hub over there, and you'll get an instant discount of 10%. And if you want to learn SQL in more details, then you can search for SQL, and you can get this course SQL's Foundation Self-Paced course. And if you are understanding from these YouTube videos, then it's well and good, and you can comment your queries in the comment section below, and I'll personally reply to all of those queries. Okay, so I think that is it for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.